Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel where tech meets creativity, and in today's automation video we'll be looking at the continuation of the previous video, where in the previous video we did look at the we looked at the dispatcher, right? And we saw how we logged in, and then how it finally populated items in the queue. So these are our queue items that were populated in the queue. We did look at that. So now, today we'll be looking at the performer, and what it's gonna be about is we'll be seeing, if I take you back a bit here, we saw that when we have items, in the queue, so what happens in the process data, it will be picking the item, process, pick, process, pick, and this goes on and on until when there is no single item has remained in the queue, and then it goes into the end process. So this is the same thing that you'll be seeing. The performer, so what the performer will be doing, it will be logging into ACME, right? After logging into ACME, it will be coming to the orchestrator queue, and it will be processing each item here. So you can look at the items. I've clicked here, then I'm clicking on view details. So these are the items that I have in my queue item. So if I come, I've already just copied a copy of that here. So what's gonna happen for each, because we're only interested in this tax ID. So for each tax ID, we'll be doing this. For each tax ID, we'll be scraping that data. I'll be showcasing that in ACME. So as you see, so for each, so it will be coming, and how many times will it be doing it? We have 14 items, so it will be doing it 14 times. So it will be logging into ACME straight. I'm already logged in. I'm already logged into ACME, so it will be logging into ACME. Come to vendors, then vendor, search for vendor. Input, so it get the tax ID. So pick this. Pick this, paste it here, and then search. So when it searches, so then it will be picking this data that we have here. Maybe the other thing, let me try to increase on the resolution. Yeah, all right. So after logging in, it gets this data, then it tries it to an Excel file. All right. So you get the idea. Try to minimize a bit here, that it fits in. So the bot will be logging in. After logging, it will be navigating to this page, and then scraping this data. But what you notice, because every time now it has to go back, let me see on vendors, still search again. For example, I'll paste the same. So it will be doing it 14 times. So if you look at the URL here, you see that I have my number here. So I'll just be navigating. I won't be using the UI automation. So the best way I'll be going about this, I'll just be navigating using the URL directly to this point, so that I don't waste time doing those clicks via UI. I'll open my studio. So my studio, maybe what I missed in the previous video, I didn't show you how you study from this side because I was already in the project. So you come into the new from template, then you select Robotic Enterprise Framework. So this would be vendor, let me call it vendor tax ID lookup, vendor lookup, vendor tax ID lookup bot, something like that. The explanation automated tax ID scraper. And I'm just coming up with these names, not randomly. I'll leave the rest of the details as is. I'll be working with VB.NET. Then I create my project. Yep. So this is my project. We did see the overview of the project. We have 4 states. I can try to reduce so that I can show you clearly. We did see this in the video. In the previous video, we have 4 states. So it's the same. This is just gonna be my performer board because remember we're looking at the dispatcher performer architecture. So in this video, we'll be building the dispatcher. So you see here, I'm having this thing I mentioned here about modular and reusability. It has this thing of modular reusability. So we're gonna see that in action I'll be opening our previous project, this vendor data collector, because I'll still need to log in. I'll still need to do that. So I won't be building that from scratch. I'll just be leveraging the components that we built in the previous video. So I'm opening my vendor collector data. It's telling me the project is already open. Yeah, cool. See, I think I opened it twice. So I'll close this one, open this one, close, then I'll open. So I'll open, then come in project, then I'll come in ACME workflows, then I'll copy the login component, just using Control on my keyboard. Then I'll come back to the vendor tax ID lookup. So I'll come into my project panel, right click, add, then I create a new folder. Then I also call it ACME workflows, just like in the previous video, since we're still interacting with ACME. So press OK. Then I paste my login module on my login XAML file workflow. So this is my login. I'm just opening logging in. So you see here, the preview image is not available, but this shouldn't worry you. Reason being, since in the other project it will be visible, but in this project it's not visible, but still the bot will be able to identify. Reason being, if I come into my properties, properties of the of this use browser activity, in this part of unified app target. So if I click on these options of unified application target, if you see in this attribute of selector, this is where the details of my selector reside. So whether the login is whether the preview is not visible or what, it shouldn't worry you. All is well. It should be able to pick and open our desired URL because the selector is there. So they need to be just logging in, the same. I can test it out still. Let me test it out, confirm it's working, so I will go ahead and build the additional component that will process our data. So I will press F6. So you see ACME is being opened. I'm already logged in, so I'll log out. So you see the bot has managed to do what? To log in. So once we logged in, what next? What happens next? We come into vendors, search for vendor, and then we inputting the value here for the URL. Did I copy it on my clipboard? Yeah, so I didn't. But I'll just do this. So once I navigate to this point, it will lead me to my new workflow. I'll come here, add sequencing, and I'll name my workflow extract vendor, vendor task data. I'll create. So it will be extracting data. Let me get my sample data. I'll open my cloud.UiPath. No, I'll just copy this from here. I'll get this value, then I'll use it here. What has happened? Wow, it's already here. So this is the page. So I'll just copy that to my clipboard. Then I'll come into activities. Then I'll use extract data table activity. When I drop it, what happens? You can guess in the chat. We have seen this in the previous video. It will automatically encapsulate it in what? Drop down a comment. So it will automatically encapsulate it in a use application browser activity. So I have to indicate the application. I'll indicate this part. So it has picked. Then I'll indicate my data I want to scrape. This is the data. Yes. And then preview. That's my one. No, or all is well. Then I'll save. Control K, create my DT extracted data. And then I'll write it to Excel. This time around, I won't use modern activities. I'll say right range, and I use a classic right range activity. This one, right range workbook. So sheet name, I'll name the sheets. The data, that's the DT data. And then in terms of data, I'll keep, so in my REFramework, I have this data path. Then I'll store it in my output data by the end of this output. But you can always store it wherever you want. You're not tied to any location. So I'll open, then I'll copy the path, paste it here. I don't need to go absolute. I can remove the rest of the details, but this doesn't change anything. Then I'll concatenate it. So I'll do this using natural language. Let me say string format, string format for 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 the date, for the I just do this string dot format. So that's a 0, then one dot xls. This is the naming of my file. I create I won't create a variable, create an argument. I'll call it in underscore, and this would be a string of that task ID, right? Comma. So this value, how the string dot format works, this value will be the value here. This is a 0, would be replaced with this, whichever value that will come in this argument, and the value in 1 will be replaced with this. I use a date now. All right, dot toString. Then I'll use that format. I use a day, then month, then year. I'll put that in double quotes. I'll put in the quotes, close, and we should be good to go. I'll just add a slash here, and I'll save. So this sheet will take in the sheet name. I'll still use the task ID. So I'll come in properties, I'll add headers. Yeah, and this should be good. So I'll change also this value. This value will always be changing. So I'll concatenate it with this argument. So if I come in my arguments panel, this should be an in argument because I'll be passing in the value from the orchestrator queue. We'll see that in a bit. So this is okay. All right. So when I come in the main, I'm not changing anything here. The get transaction, the only thing that I need to do, I need to tell my REFramework what queue will it be picking the items from, so that it can go ahead and process them. So if I come in here in the data manager, in resources, okay, not resources, queues. So I need to connect this vendor queue to my project. How do I do that? I do that using the config file. So I come in my data folder, then I navigate to config. I open my config file. So I come into my settings. So in my settings, you see I have orchestrator queue name, and we have process ABC queue, but I don't have this queue anywhere on my orchestrator. As we can see from my studio, the only queue that I have is orchestrator, is vendor queue. So I'll copy the name and I'll paste it here. So vendor queue. Then for the log process name, I'll call it vendor task ID lookup bot. So I'll do this, I'll save. Okay. This is the only change that I'll be doing here. The rest of the details, I'll be changing them. So once that's done, so I've connected I'm able to get my queue items. So now I'll place my files into my REFramework. So in the login part, I'll be putting it in the come in my framework. I'll put it here in neat applications. So in neat application, this is where I'll be putting my login component. Just in the previous project, it's the same thing that I've done. It's not taking in any arguments. That's good. Then in the process, this is where I'll be processing these from. Right? So it has an argument, remember? We created an argument. Which argument was that? We created a string. It's we created a string for the tax ID, right? So if I refresh, I'm able to get this argument, which is a string tax ID. So if I come to Orchestrator, and I navigate to queues and view items, view transactions, then I view details. So you see here, I'm not interested in all the data that's here. Currently, I'm only interested in this and not the entire column and value, but only this value. So it will be the value that I'll be putting here, right? Because I have to pick this value. Then I put it here. But actually, the route will be doing it. Just pick the value and I put it here in the route. So I just navigate here. So that's the task that I. So how do you access this? So if we come into my arguments, you see I have an argument called in transaction item, which takes in a queue item. The REFramework, it can work with different data sources. For the default one works with the queue item, right? We did look at that in our very first video that was introducing us to the REFramework. So for this case, it's a queue item. So for the queue item to be able to access that desired value, we use something called the specific content. You can also leverage AI, just saying access the content access content from the transaction queue item. It could be a better way to prompt this, just writing anyhowly. So access. So this is what it brought us. So I'll just remove the rest because I'm familiar with what I need. So I'll just go with this. So the transaction item, which is a variable that's of a queue item type. So the specific content then versus it says it takes in a key value string. So I'll come and put in, this is the key value string that I'm interested in. I'll paste it there. Then I'll convert to the string and I'll save. So yeah, so let me try to run and test and I see whether we're getting it right. So I'll come here, I'll log out, cancel, then I run. I want you to pay attention to something small here. So you see in these queue items there are 14, right? And each of their statuses is new. I want you to pay attention because the status will change, yeah? From new to something different that you'll see. So I'll come here, then I'll run in debug to see whether we don't have any errors. Upon opening application, so opening, it's still logged in, so I'll log out. So it's there signing in. So we're getting an error. So it's saying evoke. So it's saying that the task ID was not present in the dictionary. So I'll do this. So in transaction item, so I'll try to see. So these are the contents of the transaction item, and we see we have the task IDs there, but it has some additional spaces. So I did look it up on using ChatGPT, and the additional spaces how you cater for them is by using this. This is how you cater for the additional spaces. You see here? So we're using those double quotes and those double quotes. When I use this, instead of the one that I was using, the one that I used here, this one, right? Proper how we got it like from Orchestrator, the way I got it from here. So for this, it's different. So when I use this and I enter, you see I'm able to access that, my value. So I'll copy this, and this is how you could leverage the immediate panel when debugging it. So I'll stop. And I will come here and I replace this value. Then I'll save. I want you to notice something. If I close, I'm refreshing from here. You notice that the one that it was new, but since it was picked by the REFramework, by the get transaction activity, it had sent status from new to in progress. But we had an error, so I'll just go ahead and process the rest of the items. So I run again. But even before that, let me first investigate something. How are we opening this? Because it's already open. I'll come in my properties. So I'm in the properties of my use browser, and I'm in the extract vendor data, extract vendor tax data. So I'll come, close. Yeah, I should always close, and I'm done. And I'll open, orange open, window. This one I won't maximize it. Leave it as this, because we just get into this page, this one, this page, and we're scraping this data. So I won't maximize, I'll leave it small. I'll come out. Yeah, I just made some adjustments there. We should be good to go. So I'll run. It's already log out. Let me close and run again. Run. It's open. What's wrong? Something that's right. It was opening multiple windows. So all these are, nothing is open. Let me close all the windows. So let me run now. So I'm running. Logging in. Okay. Looks like it's working, and you know what's happening. It's logging out. Okay. I think I have to put there some delays. Oh, it was processing. My bad, my bad. Let me check. I interrupted it, it was processing. I had to put there a delay because you see it opened an empty instance, because meaning it had not yet picked what? Picked the session yet. So come queues. So remaining 13, the transactions. Yeah, it has successfully processed it. So you see you're able to follow along properly. Yeah? So I'll put the delay. Put a delay where okay, when you log in, after I just put a delay some. when you log in, when you click, wait for about 3 seconds. Yeah, that should solve the issue. So we have it. So I'll run. So opening application. Other about logging in. So it has started. So remember I said when it opens, it always closes. So it's iterating through the items. It's opening, minimize, then actually the minimize was unnecessary even. So it's minimizing, and then after it closes it as well. So that's why it's saying that flash. I had to leave it on the screen so that you could see it in action. But I let the scraping happens in the background, but at least you get the idea. So it's opening the URL and then and downloading, scraping the data there from there. So it's iterating through. So that's the iteration. And here you're handling each transaction in its own. So you saw the different transactions that failed, but the ones that have in progress where I interrupted the bot, still you see you're tracking each data on its own. So this is the all importance of the REFramework and the queues. You're able to track, and it's very flexible because we also look at it if you're using like data table or Excel. So as you could also see an example when you're not working with the Orchestrator Queues. So where are we putting our data? We're storing our output data in here, and this is how we save the data. Right? It was a comma. It was an hyphen, but okay, this should give you an idea. So I was saving it with the task ID and the date. So this is just the date. This is the date, the month, and the year. So when I double click on it, when I double click on this, let me do this. Try to open file location. For some reason, the naming conversion, I feel like it's not bringing the right format. I'll try to open the location manually. Output. Yeah, the output is okay. Yeah, it's okay. So I try to open. So you see I have my data here. So that's how, and it has also the task ID here. So you could change the file name because I meant file name, you change it from here. This had to be an hyphen. Save. And when I come to Orchestrator and I refresh, you see that my status is all of these things. So that's how you could work with Orchestrator Queues. And you see now how this concept comes into picture now, the dispatcher performer. So we did look at the dispatcher in the first video where we saw the dispatcher was preparing data, pushing it to the orchestrator queues, and then after pushing it to the orchestrator queues, then the performer has consumed it. So, and that's why, in short, the dispatcher just prepares the data, then the consumer consumes it, just how we have seen it in this use case. So, if you do have any questions, you can drop them in the comment section, and I'll make every effort to answer them. And if you did find this video useful, do drop a like, and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed, and hit the bell icon so that you're notified every time I upload. Yeah, see you in the next video. I'm out.